Hey guys, it's Coily Diaries back with another video. If you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. And to my returning subscribers, you know I love you guys. In this video, I'm gonna be sharing 10 tips to help you transition from washing your hair every single week to washing your hair bi-weekly or monthly, or however long you want to wait in between washes. The biggest concern and the biggest issue for a lot of people that try to do this is that my scalp is on fire. Like, what do? I've got so much dandruff, my scalp is itching, I can't do it, I have to wash my hair. Girl, I've got you. I was that girl, and I'm gonna share with you guys a few things to consider, a few things to implement, experiment, discover, learn, etc. to help you transition to whatever frequency of wash days you desire. If you're interested, keep watching. Before we get started, I know you guys will be asking, girl, what do you have on? I know, I look fly. I'm feeling it. I'm just gonna turn around so you can feel what I'm feeling. Girl, this wig gives me the effect of a blowout silk press on my own natural hair. This is actually quite a nice unit. I've done a whole review on it. I'll put a link above to the video if you're interested, but why blow out? Why straighten? Why silk press my hair when I can rock a wig and fake it? I hope you like it. Anyway, let's get into the video. So I'm just gonna share a few things or discuss a few things before I go into the 10 tips, which I think are quite important. And the first thing I want to talk about is 2 keys in order to make this work. Obviously, as you are prolonging your periods between wash days, there's 2 things to consider. The first thing is the scalp health, and number 2 is moisture. So how to keep the scalp clean, how to keep the scalp fresh and not itching, etc. How to keep the scalp hydrated, etc. And of course for the hair, because we do know that wash day is the best hydration that your hair will ever get. So how do you go for a month or more even without having your hair dry out because you're not shampooing it or because you're not washing it? Now, keeping a clean scalp is actually quite important for your health, for the growth of your hair. I mean, general hygiene, it's a great idea to actually have a clean scalp. And even if you don't put any product on your scalp, no oils, no, butters or pomades, etc. on your scalp, sebum in and of itself can actually build up on the scalp and cause issues, okay? I've experienced it. Each time I leave my sebum to accumulate on my scalp, I get inflammation, I get redness, I get itching. It's just my scalp is on fire, pretty much, okay? So I totally get it. And I'm gonna share with you what I have been doing for years, really, to eliminate that problem. Just a side note, a lot of us assume that in order to clean or in order to keep a clean scalp, you must shampoo your hair. But I did a little bit of research, and it turns out the word shampoo has got deeper origins than we think. It's actually derived from a word called to champo, which actually in reality means to massage, to knead, to press, okay, to manually remove sebum. And people of old actually used to use this shampooing method to clean their scalp, because water those days was not something that you could just access as easily as we do these days. And I know in other areas in the world, water is still a problem. So how do you keep your scalp clean in those areas? By manually removing sebum, that's right. And I remember as a child, we would use something like a rat tail comb. This little bad boy has got more functions than you think. I remember parting our hair after a few weeks or months or something like that, and just, gently agitating the sebum and actually spreading it up the hair. And as a child, I don't remember having too much itchiness on my scalp. I don't remember much buildup on my scalp. I don't even remember dry hair. Girl, we were onto something, okay? Now, although I do agree we should be moving forward and not backward, I mean, what century is it? It's modern day, right? We have shampoos, actual products to help us wash our hair. I do believe in moving forward, but I also believe in retaining some of the old practices that actually still make sense, that actually help us to maintain and grow our hair to healthy, longer lengths. Anyway, more about sebum and how to deal with it a little bit later in the video. The other thing that I want you to consider as you transition is to really be very clear on why you are doing this. Why are you doing this? Are you doing this because you want to grow your hair? Are you doing this to sort of have more hydrated, more moisturized hair and, you know, kind of avoid the drying effects of shampoos or frequent washing, unnecessary frequent washing? Are you doing it because you're pressed for time, or it's just not necessary for your lifestyle, or you're finding that weekly washes are not even necessary or required for you? I mean, there's many reasons why someone will be doing this, but all I'm saying is be clear about what your reason is, because if you're clear about your reason, then you can really focus on that goal and not get sidelined or distracted or discouraged even because you know why you're doing it and you've got a goal to meet. Another thing I want to say is that you want to do this after being absolutely and 100% sure that there's no scalp issues with yourself. No seborrheic dermatitis, no any kind of scalp conditions or problems. If you're unsure, check with your doctor, because I mean, I'm not a doctor. So just make sure that you're healthy and there's nothing wrong with your scalp. Another thing I want you to think about is how often you want to wash your hair, okay? Don't just go in without really having an idea of, you know, where you want to get to. You know, it's very important to set goals and be very clear about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And also another thing I really just want you to do prior to transitioning is to find out your level of sebum production. Some people produce a lot of sebum, others medium or normal, others, you know, very little sebum. So determine where you are in that spectrum, because that will be useful as to how often you need to implement certain practices and how often you end up washing your hair. Now, how do you discover how much sebum you have on your scalp? Wash your hair, okay? Just pick a week, your normal wash day, and then every couple of days or so, just do a little scratch on your scalp and see if you have any residue in, not residue, but if you have any sebum in your nails, okay? And of course, you know, the more you have in your fingertip, the more sebum you're creating. And also just take note of how quickly that sebum accumulated on your scalp. If you have lots and lots of sebum by the end of week 1, then you're probably on the high sebum production spectrum. If it takes you around 2 weeks or so, then maybe medium, and then on and on, you know what I mean? Like, if it takes longer for your sebum to accumulate, then you probably produce less. Okay, done with that part. Now to the tips. Tip number 1 is to start with a moisturizing shampoo. Remember I said the 2 things that we want to deal with, or that we want to really ensure, is that our hair is moisturized, hydrated, and our scalp is clean, fresh, not itchy for the duration of the time that we're not washing our hair. So starting your wash day, okay, this is tip number 1. Starting your wash day with a moisturizing shampoo allows for your hair to retain its natural oils. The natural oils being sebum, and sebum is actually crucial to keeping your hair moisturized, supple, soft, healthy, protected, coated, you name it. In my opinion, it's the best moisturizer, best product for your hair, okay? I know this is not for everybody, but hear me out. So use a moisturizing shampoo. This will allow for your hair to already start with a nice base and really equip your hair to be able to remain hydrated and moisturized for the duration. If you start with dry hair, or you use a really harsh stripping shampoo, you're already starting with dry hair. So yes, you might be able to moisturize your hair, but if you don't have that sebum coating even from the start, it'll take a bit of time for your hair to be moisturized or coated with sebum. So you might actually experience a bit of dryness, dry hair, you know, in the course of your wait between wash days. So just make sure that you use a hydrating shampoo. Number 2 is to exfoliate your scalp. Before you get started on wash day, after you've washed your hair with a really hydrating, moisturizing shampoo, just go in there and really exfoliate your scalp. This will make sure that your scalp is completely stripped of any sebum, any product, anything that may be sitting on there blocking the pores. We really don't want our pores to be blocked, and really allows you to start on a good foot. All right, I've done a video on how to do a simple sugar scrub on your scalp. However, there's so many shampoos, quote unquote shampoos, or even just scalp exfoliators that you can use out there that will help you to achieve this. So moisturizing shampoo and then exfoliate your scalp. The next point is to gradually increase the times between wash days. So you don't want to, if you wash your hair every week, for example, you don't want to go from washing every week to washing every month, or washing every week to washing every 2 months. Do it gradually. So go from washing every week to going, you know, washing for maybe 10 days or 15 days, and then maybe 2 weeks, and keep adding like that. Because a lot of the times, if you just do the extremes, the transition won't be smooth and you might not be successful with it. So I would encourage you to gradually do it, to just get your hair, your scalp used to the new regimen. The next tip I want to share with you guys is to really be religious. And I mean religious, on the dot, about moisturizing your hair. I've done a lot of routines, I've done a lot of videos about hydrating your hair, using humectants, being generous with your products, glycerin, using castor oil as a sealant, using, you know, protective styles, secondary protective styles to tuck in your ends, and to do this consistently. That's the word, religiously, consistently. And this is important because you don't want to, this whole idea that, oh, I wait for my hair to dry and then I moisturize it. No, moisturize your hair before it gets dry. So if you are going to moisturize, I'm assuming you already know your moisturizing routine. If not, I'll leave some videos above on how you can get started, I guess, with nailing your moisturizing routine. However, if you don't have the moisturizing routine sorted, maybe just wait a little bit until you've got that sorted and then come back and start this transition. If you don't know how to moisturize your hair, and if your hair is drying out in between wash days and all of that, you're not going to be successful, and your hair will end up dry between washes, and you're going to just end up washing your hair more frequently than maybe you need to or that you want to. So yeah, learn how to moisturize your hair first effectively, and then do the transition. A crucial tip that I can't leave out in this video is that moisturizing should be done with heat, because the whole point of moisturizing your hair or hydrating your hair is to, you know, allow moisture to go underneath the cuticle into the cortex. And the only way to do that is by using a shampoo or using heat, okay? Hot water or steam, or a cap that sort of uses your body heat, or like a hooded dryer attachment, etc. So this is crucial. This is the way that you're going to actually keep your hair hydrated for long periods, because it's almost equivalent to actually hydrating and shampooing your hair. Because, you know, if you apply, say you're leaving your humectant rich spritz, you apply your leave-in conditioner, and then you put that under a cap and allow heat to sort of lift your cuticle, girl, hydration is gonna go in your hair. Your hair is gonna stay moisturized, hydrated, great. A lot of people say, oh, you can't hydrate your hair with buildup, you can't, you know, moisturize your hair if you've got, you know, products sitting on your hair. But I disagree. I have been able to moisturize my hair with lots of product on it, so give it a go. The next thing is to hydrate your scalp weekly, or however often you need to. Actually, weekly is my regimen, and that seems to work, but do what works for you. It could mean just a little bit of water and maybe, in fact, your humectant rich spritz, which will contain your water and some kind of humectant like aloe or glycerin, on your scalp on a regular, okay? I like to do it at the same time I moisturize my hair. It's just easy for me to do it at the same time, but figure out what your scalp needs and what your hair needs and go from there. The other thing that we want to do is to avoid, in fact, eliminate all heavy products on the scalp. So we're not going on there with, you know, butters and all sorts of things. Like, keep it light. Keep it light. The scalp really needs very little help to regulate it. It actually regulates itself on its own. You know, it just needs a little bit help to kind of move that sebum away, and it's all good to go. So really avoid heavy products on the scalp. Now, I've kind of spoken about the scalp already, but what I didn't say is after hydrating your hair, you want to apply something. You want to do something with the scalp in order to allow for the scalp to remain fresh and clean. So the next few points are actually going to address those things. And the first thing is to actually use essential oils. I've done a video on how I make a concoction of essential oils for my scalp to avoid itch. Check it out. It's a must see. But in a nutshell, I do a 2% dilution of essential oils, and the bare minimum is tea tree and peppermint oil, and maybe olive oil and jojoba as your carrier oil, okay? And specifically olive oil and or jojoba, because these oils are actually non-comedogenic, which means that they will not block your pores. Jojoba is great because it actually mimics our own natural oils, sebum, so it's a great option. I use this one myself, and I just buy it like this from the store, and what I do is I add my essential oils to this container and just use that once a week on my scalp. It's nice and light, it's effective, I love it. You can use olive oil as well. Castor oil is great as well, but maybe not so much because of build-up and because you're probably going to be doing this on a weekly basis. So maybe use more lighter oils. Now, I did say tea tree oil and peppermint oil, but you can also add lavender and rosemary as well in the same dilution and sort of, zhuzh things up. But really, if it comes to just necessity, tea tree and peppermint. So you've hydrated your scalp, you have made your essential oil mix. What next? So grab that essential oil mix, apply it onto your scalp, and massage. Massage your scalp on a routine basis, religiously. Once you massage the oil in, you want to go ahead and kind of spread the sebum off the scalp and onto your hair, okay? The whole purpose of massaging is to stimulate blood flow, yes, but it's also to loosen sebum and to allow it to kind of leave the scalp and go onto the hair. This allows your scalp to stay clean, baby, because the sebum is no longer on the scalp, it's on the hair. This little trick works. It works for me. Obviously, if your hair is loose, it works even better because you can kind of run it down with your fingers. However, even in twists or whatever, as long as you can kind of loosen it up and just drag it a little bit so that it's on the hair and not the scalp, you'll be good. Last but not the least is to actually use witch hazel. Now, this is a last minute result. I don't actually do this. I think I've done it maybe once this year, but it's really just like an emergency thing. If your scalp is on fire or you think it needs a little bit of a refreshing and you're not quite ready to wash, a little bit of witch hazel on a cotton bud and just rub it onto your scalp. It's gonna do wonders for you and prolong your wash day for a couple more days. This is something that you don't do on a regular. Like, I don't really advise for people to do that. The techniques that I've shared with you throughout this video are actually effective, and I generally don't use or even need any witch hazel. So it's up to you. Just see how you go and see what you actually need with your hair. I'll put a photo of a recommended witch hazel that I would recommend. It's important to pick your witch hazel wisely because a lot of witch hazels actually contain alcohol, which can be drying. And girl, dryness is not a word that exists in our routine. So I would stay away from witch hazels with alcohol. So that's it, guys. After that, just pretty much tweak everything and see what works, see where you need to add, subtract, prolong, move closer, and before you know it, you will have a routine that suits with your lifestyle, that works well with your hair's needs. You'll be using more of your sebum, you'll see more hydrated hair, less stress with your wash day. Length retention, less single strand knots, less split ends, less hair damage, less breakage. I have not looked back ever since I started implementing some of these things. So I'm excited for you to try them as well. Comment below, let me know what you think. Let me know if you implement some of these already in your routine. Let me know if you're gonna try any of these out. Until next time, it's Coily Diaries. Bye.